name is Dustin Maher, and this is my story. So November of last year was when I decided I wanted to be an Ironman. Last summer, my mom, the healthiest woman in my life, my biggest influence, she died of a brain aneurysm, just out of nowhere. Never saw it coming, and so I just realized, you know what, obviously we're not guaranteed any life, and so let's just do it this year. I signed up for Ironman. I couldn't swim, literally I couldn't swim really more than across the swimming pool. I hated water. I really never run in my life. I played sports but never really ran, and I got into biking a couple years ago. Things didn't go quite as planned, but it still went overall really well. Did 11 hours and 11 minutes, and my swim became like a top 5 to 7% of all racers. So I turned something that I couldn't do in 9 months into something that became a strength. The Devil's Head Triathlon was my last of the season, and it wasn't just because of the crash. I had done Ironman the week before, and the swim went really strong. I got out of the water in 4th place. Didn't have to swim too hard for that, which was great. Got in transition. My bike is my favorite part of it. I'm a little bigger guy, 185 pounds. And so the hilly course was not definitely my strength, but I certainly was not fresh from having just done Ironman. We were going as fast as 50 miles an hour on a few of the downhills. And on one of the downhills, I noticed that my front brake was just rubbing a little bit. So I opened the brake pad up, I brake, and to my horror, I've only got my back brake. My front brake was completely off, and I remembered it, but I remembered that I forgot to reset it. So kind of my mind my stomach goes up into my throat, and I'm gonna do my best to save this, and lock out the rear brake to try to prevent myself from flying into the trees and down the big ravine. And the thing I remember first was my back wheel just sliding out from underneath me, and just this awful screeching sound is just like ingrained in my head. And then the next thing I know, I was on the ground, and you could definitely tell my wrist was probably broken. And so I had a few people kind of check up on me. The ambulance came, literally 90 seconds, I think. It was up there because it was right at the finish line. And so that came up, and my fiance, I got engaged to her last week, the week before at Ironman. And so she came running up, freaked out, but fortunately I was standing up by then, so she knew I was somewhat okay. And the paramedics kind of, talked to me, but I said, hey, listen, I want to finish this race. Don't give me care right now. So I only had one foot left in I only had one shoe left, and I just cruised on down. My chain was all messed up, and I finished the bike portion, and then got into transition, and I was all bleeding and cut up, and I put my shoes on with my one hand that I could use still, and then I ran the 5K, and then crossed the finish line, got some ice, and went right to urgent care. Just be thankful for what you have, what you can do. And then, just never give up. I think the thing I was most proud of on that race was that I didn't give up. I got back up and I finished the race that I started. And that's a principle that can carry over in everything in life. And on the way to the emergency room, my fiance said, man, I'm really marrying a very stubborn man. I said, no, not stubborn. I said, I'm very determined.